Your face, oh, it's a canvas everyone thinks they own a brush for. They stare, they whisper, they judge, they laugh. And sometimes they pretend to admire. But what they're really doing is projecting their own fears, their own insecurities, their own ugliness onto the shape of your skin. They act like your face is a story they get to tell, like every line. Every scar, every feature was put there for their entertainment. Isn't it funny? You never asked for their commentary, but still, they can't resist. They can't stop. Because people are obsessed with surfaces. They worship appearances while drowning in their own hidden rot. Your face becomes the stage where they play out their envy, their ridicule, their fascination, their hate. And all the while, they don't realize the face they're really afraid of is their own. Your face is their mirror, not your truth. That's the part no one ever tells you, because if you realized it too soon, you wouldn't let their words cut as deep. People are funny creatures. They look at you, and all they really see is a reflection of themselves. Every time their eyes trace your skin, every time their lips curl with judgment, they're not studying you. They're studying their own insecurities painted on your canvas. A scar on your face isn't a scar to them. It's the reminder of their own wounds they're too afraid to admit. The shape of your eyes, the way your mouth moves when you talk, even the smallest twitch becomes a signal to them, a trigger, a reminder of something about themselves they can't control. So they talk, they whisper, they mock, not because of you, but because you've become a mirror they can't escape. And mirrors are cruel to those who hate what they see. They tell you that your face is too different, too strange, too flawed, or maybe even too perfect, because any extreme makes them uncomfortable. If you're broken, you expose the cracks in them. If you're flawless, you make their mediocrity louder. Either way, you're never really being seen for who you are. You're just the stage for their self-hatred, their envy, their fear. And isn't it amusing? They can't even tell the difference. They're convinced it's you, that the problem lies in your face, when the truth is, their reactions betray their own reflection staring back at them. Think about it. A crowd looks at the same face, yet they never describe it the same way. One says beautiful, another says ugly. One says intimidating, another says weak. How could the same face create such chaos? Because it's never about the face. It's about the eyes looking at it. They twist you into whatever shape they need to justify the feelings they're already drowning in. They dress you up in masks that don't belong to you, and you're expected to carry the weight of their imagination. That's the trap, believing their commentary reveals anything about you at all. But the truth, oh, it's far simpler. Your face is nothing but a reflection, a screen where they project their films of insecurity. And once you learn this, once you see through their game, their words lose their poison. Because how could a mirror ever be responsible for the cracks in the one staring? You are the canvas, the glass, the reflection. They are the ones bleeding inside, screaming at the mirror, hoping if they break it, they won't have to face themselves anymore. That's why they talk so much, why they obsess, why they never shut up. They're not describing you, they're confessing. People project their fears onto your skin, and they don't even realize they're doing it. They look at you, and suddenly you become the perfect canvas for everything they're terrified to admit about themselves. That wrinkle they laugh at. It's the reminder of time slipping away from their own face. That scar they whisper about. It's the echo of wounds they've buried so deep, hoping no one will notice. The way your face moves when you speak. The way your eyes hold a certain fire, or your jaw tightens with restraint. It rattles them, because it reminds them of the parts of themselves they can't control, the truths they try to bury under layers of fake smiles and polite lies. People don't attack what they understand. They attack what makes them uncomfortable, and discomfort always comes from fear. So when they talk about your face, they're not really talking about you. They're confessing their fears without meaning to. Your features become their shadow. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, you expose them. Suddenly, their laughter feels forced. Their whispers are shaky. Their eyes dart away, because they can't bear the reflection staring back at them. And yet, they can't look away. That's the twisted part. They're obsessed with what unsettles them most. Fear is contagious, but it needs a host. They don't want to admit the fear lives inside them, so they pin it on you. They make your face the prison for their anxieties, their doubts, their failures. That way they can point a finger, laugh, criticize, and pretend they've kept the monster outside, instead of acknowledging it's been growing inside all along. They mock your differences, but only because they're afraid of their own sameness. They highlight your flaws, but only because they're drowning in their own. You don't carry their fears, but you wear them, because they've painted them onto you like graffiti on a wall. And that's why it stings, why it cuts deep, because you start believing their fears are yours. They project so hard, with such confidence, that you begin to mistake their reflection for your identity. You wear their words like a mask, not realizing it was never yours to begin with. That's the trick. They make you carry the burden of what they're too cowardly to face. And most people never figure it out. They walk through life chained to the fears of others, mistaking projections for truths, shrinking under the weight of someone else's weakness. But here's the thing. If you know what's really happening, you start to see the comedy in it. You watch them flinch at your smile, and you realize it's not your smile they hate. It's the fact that they've forgotten how to smile with honesty. You see them whisper about the lines on your face, and you realize it's their fear of aging, not your reflection. That's haunting them. They can't stand your presence because it drags their shadows into the light. And you don't even have to try. All you have to do is exist, and their fears start screaming loud enough for everyone to hear. That's the power of projection. It reveals more about them than it ever could about you. Admiration and ridicule are born from the same envy, though most people will never admit it. When they stare at your face, their reactions split in two directions. Some call it beautiful, some call it ugly, but both are driven by the same hunger, the same gnawing jealousy eating at their insides. They admire you because you carry something they wish they had. They ridicule you because you carry something they wish they could destroy. And isn't it funny how the same mouth that praises can twist into mockery the moment their envy burns too hot? That's the dual nature of people. They don't love you. They don't hate you. They only envy what they cannot own. Think about it, admiration is nothing more than a softer form of envy. When someone looks at you with awe, it isn't pure appreciation. It's their desire disguised as kindness. They want your confidence, your uniqueness, the way your face commands attention without permission. They smile, they clap, they compliment, but deep down, they are wishing for a way to wear your skin, to borrow your light, to steal the thing they can't create for themselves. Ridicule is the same, just stripped of its mask. It's envy without manners. It's the raw, bitter spit of someone choking on the fact that they'll never be what you are. Your face becomes their battlefield. They'll admire it when they're in the mood to pretend civility, then ridicule it when they can't contain their jealousy anymore. But the root is the same. They can't stand the reminder of what they lack. They're trapped in a cycle. Praise when they want to get close, insult when they feel too far. Both reactions circle around envy like moths around fire. And the fire, the source, the thing they can't resist is you. Look closer at those who ridicule the loudest, and you'll find envy screaming the hardest. They laugh at the curve of your smile, the set of your jaw, the scar that makes you stand out, but their laughter is hollow. It's desperate. They attack you so fiercely because your very existence exposes what they're missing. They cover it with cruelty, hoping no one will notice the real reason behind their venom, that you carry something they'll never touch. And the ones who admire you too much, they're not so different. Their sweet words are just envy dressed up in silk, envy pretending to be polite. They want to be near you, hoping some of your glow will rub off. But the hunger in their eyes betrays them every time. And isn't it amusing how people will pretend these two reactions are opposites, when really they're identical twins? Admiration and ridicule hold hands, feeding from the same source. Today they call you inspiring, tomorrow they call you strange. But envy doesn't change. It just wears different costumes, depending on how insecure they feel in the moment. One costume smiles, the other sneers, but both are powered by the same engine, the fact that you unsettle them, that you remind them of everything they aren't. So the next time they praise your face, don't be fooled into thinking it's love. And when they mock it, don't be fooled into thinking it's hate. Neither is the truth. The truth is simpler, darker, funnier. They envy what they see, and envy always finds a way to speak, whether with applause or with poison. Both voices come from the same place, both reveal the same weakness, and both prove one thing: your face has power. Enough power to twist admiration into obsession, and ridicule into desperate denial. Surfaces distract them from their own rot. That's why they cling so tightly to your face, to the way it looks, to every detail they can twist and turn in conversation. It's easier to point at your skin than to peel back their own. They laugh about a blemish, whisper about a scar, obsess over the shape of your features because it keeps them from thinking about what's festering inside of them. People love masks, not just the kind you wear, but the kind they build out of distraction. And what better mask than another person's appearance? They can tear you apart piece by piece. And while they're busy doing that, no one is looking closely at the decay in them. It's a diversion, like a magician waving his hands, so you never see the trick happening right under your nose. They talk about you, so they don't have to talk about themselves. They hide behind your reflection like a shield, hoping no one notices the cracks spreading across their own. The irony is that their obsession with your surface says more about their insides than your outsides. The louder they scream about your face, the clearer the picture becomes of the things they're running from. Rot always hides behind paint. That's the secret. You cover something ugly with something shiny, hoping the shine distracts everyone long enough. People are no different. They'll paint themselves with smiles, clothes, polite words, and false compliments. But the stench of their rot leaks through every time. And when it does, they scramble. They scramble for another distraction. They point at your face, your flaws, your differences, your uniqueness, because it buys them time. It keeps the spotlight off their own mess. But the truth has a funny way of showing up, doesn't it? No amount of chatter about someone else's face can stop rot from spreading underneath their own skin. Think of how quickly people turn a conversation toward appearances. They'll dodge the real questions, the fears, the failures, the loneliness, and instead, they'll cling to the surface. Look at him, look at her, look at that. They think they're clever, but what they're really doing is confessing. They're saying, "Don't look at me. Don't see what's rotting inside." They're hoping if they keep enough eyes fixed on you, no one will notice the stink of their own hidden truths. And here's the funniest part. They believe their trick works. They think the surface has fooled everyone, that their rot is invisible. But some of us can smell it. You can see it in the way their words tremble, in the way their laughter comes too quick, in the way they never let silence sit too long, because silence always drags the rot closer to the surface. So they keep talking about your face. It's their lifeline, their distraction, their desperate attempt to keep their secret ugliness buried. But surfaces don't last forever. Paint peels, masks crack. And when they do, when the rot underneath finally shows itself, all the words they ever spoke about you collapse under the weight of their own decay. Because surfaces can only distract for so long before the truth bursts through. And truth always smells stronger than perfume. What they see is more about them than you. That's the part people never want to admit, because it would mean every judgment, every insult, every careless word is nothing but a reflection of their own twisted insides. When someone looks at your face and calls it ugly, they're really announcing the ugliness they've been carrying around in silence. When they call it beautiful, they're really exposing their own hunger for something they feel they can't touch. Their words aren't a mirror of you. They're a confession of them. Every sentence that falls from their mouth is a little breadcrumb trail back to their own insecurities, their envy, their shame, their desires they don't dare to speak aloud. People think they're so clever, like their observations are sharp, like their opinions cut into you. But their words cut deeper into themselves than they ever could into you. Because all judgment is projection. All admiration is longing. All ridicule is insecurity dressed in cheap clothing. They stare at your face. They describe it. Dissect it, rip it apart, or build it up. But none of those words are about you. They're stories they're writing about themselves, using your skin as the paper, your features as the ink. Look closer, and you'll see the patterns. The one who calls you intimidating, they're the one drowning in their own fear. The one who calls you weak, they're the one cracking under pressure when no one's watching. The one who calls you strange, they're desperate to appear normal, even if it kills them inside. Their words are clues, not truths about you, but truths about what they're hiding. They can't help it. People leak their secrets in the way they describe others. Every insult is an admission. Every compliment is a cry. Every sneer is a mask slipping for just a moment. And the tragedy, most people never notice. They believe the words. They carry them like weights. They let them settle into their bones, thinking that's who they are. They never see the trick. They never realize that what was said wasn't theirs to hold. It was a mirror shoved in their face, reflecting the other person's shadows. That's how power is stolen. You believe the projection. And suddenly you're walking around, carrying someone else's insecurities like they're your own. But if you learn to listen differently, everything changes. You stop taking words as judgments and start taking them as revelations. Someone mocks your face. You smile because you know they just exposed their fear of being mocked themselves. Someone praises it. You nod because you know they just admitted how much they crave beauty they think they'll never own. Suddenly, you're not the target of their words. You're the detective, piecing together the puzzle of who they are underneath their mask. Their words stop being daggers and start being clues. And clues can't kill you. They only reveal the truth. That's the game most people never figure out. They think what's said about them is about them. But nothing people say ever is. It's always about the speaker. Always about what's rattling in their bones. Always about the shadows gnawing at their insides. You're just the canvas they splash it on, the stage where their confessions play out. What they see is never your truth. It's the ghost of their own reflection staring back at them. Too raw, too real, too frightening to face alone. The face they mock is the one they secretly crave. That's the twisted irony, isn't it? They spit venom, they laugh, they ridicule. But underneath the sneers, there's hunger. A hunger they'll never admit out loud, because envy always wears a mask. They say your face is strange, but strange is exactly what they wish they could be. Different, noticeable, unforgettable. They say your face is flawed, but what they're really saying is that your flaws give you a character they'll never have. They spend their lives sanding themselves smooth, blending into the crowd. And then they hate you for daring to wear something raw, something real. Mockery is their camouflage. It hides their fascination. The louder they laugh, the more you should know they've been staring too long. They'll pick apart your face like vultures circling. But secretly, they're feasting on the thought of having your audacity, your presence, your ability to carry a face that isn't manufactured by their shallow rules. They live in cages built by society's mirrors, all of them trying to look alike, and then you walk by, not fitting the mold, and suddenly they're torn between hatred and desire. They mock what they cannot have, because desire disguised as ridicule feels safer than admitting envy out loud. You can see it in their eyes if you look closely. Their mouths may curl into ridicule, but their eyes betray them every time. The eyes linger. The eyes follow. The eyes light up with that flicker of something they don't want anyone to notice. They'll whisper insults, but the whispers last longer than they should. They replay your image in their heads long after the conversation has ended. That's not hate. That's obsession hiding in plain sight. And think about it. How much time do people really spend mocking something they don't secretly crave? If something disgusts you, you turn away. You forget it, you bury it. But obsession, that lingers. That feeds itself on every passing moment. That's why they keep bringing you up, keep making jokes, keep throwing your face into conversations where it doesn't even belong. You've crawled into their heads without even trying, and they can't get you out. So they cover it with ridicule, hoping you'll never notice the fascination underneath. It's the same with art. The painting that gets mocked for being too abstract, too odd, too ugly. Give it time, and those same critics will come crawling back, whispering about how brilliant it is, how bold it was all along. Because what they mocked wasn't the painting. It was their inability to understand it. Your face is no different. They laugh now, but it's a laugh born of fear. Fear that they'll never have the courage to wear their own skin as boldly as you wear yours. That's why the mocking never ends. It's not you they want to destroy. It's the reminder that you exist outside their cage. They crave it, but they're too bound by rules to chase it. So they try to kill the reminder instead. They'll keep laughing, keep pointing, keep disguising envy as disgust. Because that's the only way they can live with the fact that they want what you've got, but will never admit it. The face they mock is the one they dream about in secret. The one they wish they could wear. The one that keeps them awake at night. The one that reminds them of everything they don't have the courage to be. Their ridicule is nothing more than longing dressed in chains, envy hidden under a thin layer of cruelty, craving denied so forcefully It burns them alive every time they see you.